Dear friends, welcome to the Impromptu Stories podcast. In this heartfelt episode, I sit down with Cody. He's an exceptional young man who at 38 has built a life rooted in love, resilience, and presence. He's a devoted single dad and proud girl dad to his 3-year-old daughter. Cody opens up about the joys and challenges of raising a child on his own, the lessons he's learned about patience, and what it truly means to show up every single day. We talk about the beauty of slowing down, finding grace in the chaos, and choosing love over perfection. This episode is a gentle reminder that fatherhood isn't just about responsibility, it's about love, growth, and the power of being present. It's a story about showing up, even when it's really hard, about the quiet strength of a young father, and the deep impact of just simply being there for his little girl. So pull up your chair, grab your favorite drink, let's talk about what it really means to be rooted in love. Hi, Cody.
Hello.
Thank you for joining me on my little podcast. I love that you call yourself a girl dad. What does that really mean to you deep down in your heart and day to day? If you would please share with me.
Yeah, absolutely. This dates back to the gender reveal of my daughter. Every man hopes for a son, I can say, but when they're faced with the reality that they're going to be raising a daughter, it kind of rebrands you. So being a girl dad, you find yourself a wee bit more protective of your child because, then they're so vulnerable being female, and, you feel like you need to offer that extra protection.
That's beautiful. And you are 38, very successful gentleman, and raising your daughter as a single father. So can you think of your life when you were 18? And did you imagine yourself at 38 being...
Yeah, not at all. I think that we all have visions of a successful family. We want, mom and dad to be in the picture. We strive to, achieve that goal. But sometimes we don't always get what we want, and we don't get the cards that, we need. So, we're stuck with the situation. And in my situation, I'm raising my daughter by myself. Unfortunately, the mother's not around, so as much as she should be. So it's an extra challenge for me to have to step in and be there full time for her, and also balance working full time. I would have never thought in a million years I'd be in this situation.
Yeah, but to us, like 38 is still a young age, right? And I just admire you how you're so young and so responsible, and raising a child, but also raising a daughter. I think it's another extra level of responsibility. Don't you think so? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. There's different challenges, and we can start with just doing her hair. Something as simple as that. Where boys can just get out of bed and put a shirt on and call it a day. You have to go the extra mile, and there's different things you need to learn. There's definitely different emotions at play. Not saying women are emotional, no. But it's very challenging.
Yeah, it's good. But because that was actually my other question, which you already answered. What was something that being single dad you wish people could see, because people don't see most of the times, right? Those struggles like
that. They definitely don't, and most people do have mom and dad in the picture helping out. So a lot of people, sure, they can see you from the outside, and you can make it seem like everything's all smooth, but there's definitely days when you're really tested.
So maybe just if you could maybe just in a few words tell us, when you start the morning, is it like a big, like a little tornado, or it's very smooth?
Yeah, there's no sleeping in. That's gone. It's something I haven't done in years.
Yeah.
You got to get downstairs. You got to make sure you start breakfast. You know, you have to get in the routine of things. And I think routine's important when raising a child because, you know, then your child knows, you know, what's next, and it makes it easier as a parent to go through your day with your structure and your routine. But yeah, wake up, make breakfast, get her dressed, get her ready for the day, plan your day, you know, then it's lunch, and then it's nap, and then it's, you know, the bedtime routine gauntlet, which I call it because it's exhausting. And then once you go through a day of, you know, like you say, tornado, once you go through a day with a Tasmanian devil and you know that the finish line is approaching, the bedtime gauntlet of the bath, the stories, you know, the bedtime routines. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's all rewarding because your daughter is your loved one and you want to be close with her and form that special bond. So I try never to look at it as being, oh, I'm almost there, you know, oh, I almost get my me time, right? I think it's very important to get through that and cherish every moment of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So what's your secret weapon as a dad, as a solo dad, I guess, besides those snacks and bedtime stories? Do you know?
I think like for when I'm working and she's not here and the house is quiet, it's too quiet. You look around, you can see her toys and you can see her stuff scattered about, and it really, you know, you tend to miss her. And you want her around all the time, but unfortunately, you know, you have to pay the bills, you need to work. So, my secret that I can share is that for every moment when your patience is run out or you feel like pulling your hair out of your head, because kids will push you to the edge, is to close your eyes and, you know, picture yourself being 80 years old or 70 years old. And, you know, what would you give to go back in time to spend even a minute with your child at this age? You know, and I think that is really important because no one wants to grow up and have any sort of regrets about how they raised their kid, or, you know, maybe I was on my phone too much. Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention watching hockey games. You know, you always want to be there for them and strive to be the best. So yeah, my secret is essentially to just appreciate the small things, because it all adds up.
Yeah, that's true. She's 3 only for certain little amount, right? Time.
Well, it feels like a lifetime, but yeah, it's only a year that she's 3 years old, and then she'll be 4 and 5, and then next thing you know it, you know, she'll be too cool for me. So we need to enjoy these years.
Yeah, sure. That's beautiful that you take your time to enjoy the moment and presence, you know, today. So when you want to take time for yourself, you hopefully don't feel guilty, right? It's actually still good to have.
I mean, I know how important me time is, and I mean, I try my best to get some me time, but like I haven't been on a vacation in probably almost 10 years now, so I it's long overdue, but I do think there might be a little bit of guilt depending on you know what you're doing as in me time, but you also need to focus on yourself, because you need to be at your, you know, you need to be the best version of yourself to raise a child. So if you're not taking care of yourself, you know, then later down the road it might cause some problems. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I know it's important to have that quality time to yourself, and I try to make the best of it when I have the time, whether that's going to the gym or meeting some friends to watch a hockey game.
Yeah, that's lovely. I'm sure you deserve that all, because you are having your life full, right? And raising your child as a single dad, it's and plus having this very responsible job you have as well. Wonderful. So if your daughter could give you a job title, what do you think she would call you? What would be?
Oh, that's a tough question, but I would, you know, I think my job title would be daddy, you know. I mean, I think daddy does it all, and you know, she's always asking me for things, and I'm always making sure I'm there to help her. So you're a safe place, right, for her. And does she
I'm sure she looks up at you like that. You provide and you are there for her all the time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, physically and emotionally.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's beautiful. So, yeah, what do you think your daughter taught you so far before even she turned 4?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I've learned is patience. I mean, I come from a line of work where, you need to have that. And I've already noticed, just by raising my daughter that I have so much patience now. And it's something that just kind of came out of nowhere. And I realized that, it's something that was achieved through all those countless nights of taking the clothes off backwards and upside down, or getting her ready, putting the wrong shoes on the wrong feet. You have to have patience, and that's exactly what she taught me. And yeah, we as men, we all do have a soft side, and it tends to come out more when you're with your child, especially a daughter. But yeah, I've definitely learned also to be more, more affectionate and more. Shoot, the word I'm looking for is empathetic towards, certain situations, not making a big deal out of the small things, right? Because girls can be very demanding, and you don't want to get on their wrong side, whether that's your daughter or whoever. So, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I think your job also requires a lot of patience from you because you work with people. You're constantly very responsible side of your work, right? Because your job is extremely, I think,
absolutely. And I've noticed that I've had a lot more patience, and I can thank my daughter for that.
Oh, good. Sure. So you can thank your daughter for that. It's good. It's beautiful. So maybe you could share either something funny you can think of, or have another question for you also. What's your go-to like dad hack that you could share with everybody when everything's falling apart? Like, what would you?
I mentioned earlier that structure and routine are important. Yes. And if you have, a routine where you can, your child expects certain things throughout the day, whether that be snack time, bedtime, stories, just keeping it a routine makes it a lot easier for you, because it can be very easy to veer off track, especially if, your child is in a mood, or things aren't going well, or something bad has happened in the day. It can be very easy to veer off track, but having that routine and structure when raising a child is so important, because you can always veer back on track, and it gives your child a sense of comfort, whether that be, yogurt before bed, or strawberries in the morning. It's something that they expect. And, and I've been guilty of it myself, because, if I'm doing a 12-hour shift and come home and have to, and I'm really tired, and I might skip something just because I'm not thinking fully, your child will remind you, and, you're back on track, and it's really comforting for them, I think,
Nice. So, was there any moment that when you felt like, I don't know how to handle this kind of thing?
Yeah, I think even just from the start of, as soon as I had realized that it's just going to be me, I mean, for me, it was a bit of a shock, because...
How old was she when you separated with your...
So she would have been 2 years old. Oh. So it was a big reality check for me, because I was, I was frightened. I'm not going to lie to you. It was, it was a moment in my life where I thought, how the hell am I going to achieve this? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do this by myself? But, you take it day by day, I think is important. And like you said, cherish the small things and build off that. I mean, your child will always have your back, and it's important for you to be there for them too. So, you can form that inseparable bond, and, you think of it as just being teammates, friends, but you do have to, lay the law down sometimes.
Yeah. So sometimes you do you feel like you're the adult in the room?
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges for sure is switching from being their friend to being their parent. I think there's a fine line you have to walk, because, you know, at the same time you're trying to raise your child to be appropriate, well behaved, you know, with, you know, even if it comes down to just table manners. I think it's important to have them listen to you when they need to and understand. So there's that fine line you walk between being their friend and being their parent. And I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges any parent would agree, especially as the kids get older and more independent. They start challenging you on certain aspects of, you know.
I believe it's children always test us all the time. Yeah, I have two daughters as well, so I know what it is. But it's different for me, being a mom when I had my children much older than you do. So I'm just very curious how do you handle it? How do you keep it together? You know, you're a dad to your daughter. You have a beautiful job. You have beautiful friends, family. And what do your parents say about you being as a father?
Well, I think
sure they're very proud of you.
Absolutely, and without their help too, I think it would be impossible for me to be in the situation. So I thank them for that. But you know, I would say the funnest part about being a parent is, you know, you start looking forward to things that you can do with your child, and you know, it changes. I mean, we take things for granted when we're single or have all that free time, you know, and you start thinking about, well, hey, there's this event going on. My daughter might like that. You know, you start thinking about everything, and you want to include them on everything. So it's very fun. And, you know, my parents are proud, but, you know, they're there for me too. And, you know, without my mother's help, especially, she also sticks to the same routine that we have set up.
Oh,
so
nice.
It's the same routine in both households, which makes it easier for everybody.
That's beautiful, because in some cultures, you know, grandparents have their own style, you know.
Yeah, and I will say my mother was a lot more strict, so I do have to accommodate some of her rules. But you know, I mean, it's 2025 now; things have changed since the 80s. So she's definitely a bit more relaxed on certain things, but. She's a bit old-fashioned, that's for sure.
But it's beautiful. I think it's a good experience for the children too, to experience different generations, right? To be around different generations.
Absolutely.
Because we as immigrants, for example, my children don't have any family around them.
Yeah.
So sometimes I feel sad that they don't have like good set of grandparents here, or aunties, or somebody, or nieces and nephews, right? Cousins, I mean. So it's beautiful that your daughter has family here, that they are all live in Calgary, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So what would be then one thing that you hope your daughter remembers about your life together right now?
I would hope that she remembers, you know, definitely the life that I gave her. I mean, I know for a fact that you know, kids at this age, they're not going to be thinking deep into, you know, what struggles we have as parents. But, you know, eventually when she grows up, I would hope that she might have a little bit of realization that, you know, it's been tough. It's been hard. And, you know, it's the things that we're there to do as a parent. You know, you hope, reflecting back on my childhood too, you know, I'm thankful for how I was raised, and you know, every small thing you cherish, every memory. So I hope that one day my daughter has the same sort of feelings. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I know that you do some photo shoots with her. She's the cutest girl ever. And you take her to some lots of like birthday parties and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So so when there is somebody's birthday party, do you take her yourself, right?
Yeah. Luckily for me, I have a lot of friends who have children the same age. So I think, you know, having that sort of foundation of other children, you know, bringing her around to the birthday parties, or whether that be a hockey playoff party. I think it's important to have the other kids around, because you know, kids need friends, and whether they're 2, 3, 4 years old, it's always nice for them to go upstairs, play together with the toys, and you know, that's when the me time comes in. You know,
Yes.
you take advantage of every minute you get. So
Yeah, that's lovely. So, yeah, thank you so much for this beautiful conversation. Do you want to wish something to other single dads out there?
yeah, you know, if anyone's
Okay.
listening that is going through the same sort of situation, is just keep your head up. Things do always get better, and cherish every moment you have with your children when they're small, because one day they're not going to be small,
Yes.
and we don't want to ever look back and have any regrets. So
Nice. Thank you so much,
thank
Cody. I
you.
really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we end, I just want to say how much I admire Cody, not only as a devoted father, but as a man of integrity, warmth, and quiet strength. His love for his daughter, his deep respect for his family, and the way he's built a grounded, meaningful life are truly inspiring. So, Cody, thank you so much for showing us what it really means to lead with heart and to be rooted in love and kindness. Thank you. We really appreciate, and I loved having you as my guest.